Welcome back. The Florida legislature still needs to pass a budget, but the fate of every other bill this session has been decided. And one bill that we've been closely tracking is the Tristin Murphy Act. Anyone who regularly watches this show knows that Tristin was a diagnosed schizophrenic who had been in and out of jail for years without ever receiving the treatment or care he needed. He was eventually sent to prison on a littering charge, and the judge at the time complained he had no other options. A month after arriving at that South Florida prison, Murphy, the father of two, killed himself with a chainsaw. In the final hours of the last day of the regular session, the Florida House passed the Tristin Murphy Act, which will stress treatment over incarceration for mentally ill individuals accused of nonviolent offenses. For Tristin's mother, Cindy, it has been a long and grueling journey.
Today, we honor Tristin Murphy. Today, we turn a wrong into a right. We shift from incarceration to treatment and from handcuffs to humanity.
Tristin's parents, Cindy and Dennis Murphy, traveled to Tallahassee to meet with legislators over the past 2 years, hoping to change how the criminal justice system deals with the mentally ill so that what happened to their son wouldn't happen to anyone else.
House Amendments 1149231.
On Friday, they gathered with friends and family in Port Charlotte and waited anxiously to see if the House would pass the bill in its closing hours.
Mr. and Mrs. Murphy, I know you're watching. Please know that your son Tristin didn't die in vain. He has changed the course and lives of individuals that suffer from mental illness. My promise to you and Tristin's sons is to continue to make this bill even better in the future. He will not be forgotten. When I came to Tallahassee,
come here, I want you to see this. Colton, hurry.
I had many ask what I expected.
As the vote drew closer, Cindy called for Tristin's youngest son, Colton, who's 9, to join her.
Tristin is smiling down upon us today. Today, as a body, we have the ability to change lives. So let all of us be up for Tristin Murphy today. Yes. With that, I close. Mr. Speaker.
Members, all in favor of the motion say yea. Opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The question now recurs on final passage of CS for Senate Bill 168. The clerk will unlock the machine and members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted?
Yes. These are all yeses.
The clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
99 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. Speaker.
So the bill passes. Read the next message.
The Honorable Daniel Perez, Speaker. I have directed to inform the House of Representatives that the Senate has amended.
More than 3 years after her son killed himself, the flood of emotions was overwhelming for Cindy Murphy. The Senate sponsor of the bill was Republican State Senator Jennifer Bradley. She is also the driving force behind the condo reforms this year that will ease some of the financial costs to condo owners. We started by talking about what that bill would do.
We have spent, Senator Pizzo and myself spent, several years really, but much of last summer meeting with associations, having a summit with all of the stakeholders and really listening. And there's a lot of concern on the part of owners that the implementation of Surfside would happen too quickly, that they wouldn't be able to financially catch up. Those were some of the financial stress points, but there was also real practical concerns with implementation with the reserve study reports, and were they accurate? Were they reflecting what the legislature wanted them to reflect in terms of what items had to be reserved for, which items were mandatory and which weren't? So we went into this session to try to craft a bill that would provide both financial relief and flexibility, as well as streamline some of the processes that associations have to navigate in order to comply with the post-Surfside regulations.
And it seems the critical part of the bill allows for associations to take out lines of credit as opposed to actually assessing individuals and acquiring that money and putting it into an escrow account. You would able to have lines of credit. Am I stating that correctly?
You are, and that's a provision that I have tried to get in the condo bill for several years now. And it's a reflection that what the legislature wants is a plan. is a plan for how you will make the needed structural repairs to your building as they become necessary to repair. That means it doesn't have to all be cash on day one. Do you have a line of credit? Do you have a loan? How are you as an association financially planning to make the important components of your building safe, and will they continue to be safe? And so that provides another method to do that, to avoid all cash reserves day one.
So in other words, to put it even more plainly, if I, as a condo owner, suddenly get hit with an assessment that in order to fully fund the reserve, I would need to come up with $20,000, let's say, and have it due, at the end of the year, rather than do that, the association can take out a line of credit and I may be able to pay against that over a longer period of time. So it's not having to come up with the complete $20,000 on day one.
That's correct. But associations have always been able to take out loans to do certain things. What this bill did is it said that those loans and that line of credit satisfy the reserve requirement. So for associations that had roof repairs or other issues in the past, they've been able to get loans. But what this bill does is it says that when you're looking at the required reserves, those don't have to be in cash. And that was a big pressure point for associations, realizing that the legislature was requiring it to all be in cash. We had to provide that express authority for associations to be able to rely on a line of credit or loans to satisfy that reserve obligation.
But again, as you said earlier, the real impetus of all these bills, going back to the original bill that Speaker Danny Perez introduced, to the bills that you've been working on ever since, is to make sure associations are dealing with the problems that they have in their buildings and not ignoring them, which was one of the underlying issues at Surfside, correct?
Absolutely. And the safety component of this bill is untouched. It's this making sure our condos are safe is non-negotiable. We saw just this week in Clearwater, a 14-story condo was evacuated. They had been completing milestone repairs, and it was through that process that a big structural deficiency was found, and the building was evacuated. Now those columns will be shored up. Owners will be allowed to return. That's not the first time we have seen this. There have been dozens of evacuations as a result of engineers going through buildings and doing that full assessment. When you have buildings that are 50 years old on the coast, that have never had some very repair and maintenance that has been quite deferred, we have to make sure they're safe. And the milestones are doing that. And I believe the milestones are already starting to, we're seeing the life-saving benefits of having these inspections.
I want to just sort of touch on a bill that you and I have talked a lot about over the past couple of years, which is the ultimate fruition of the Tristin Murphy Act. You and the Senate President were the driving forces behind this bill. It's now passed both the House and the Senate, on its way to the governor, hopefully for his signature. I don't think there's any reason to believe that he won't sign the bill. As you reflect on doing this, on getting this done, what are your thoughts in terms of how significant is this for you on a personal level to just sort of get this bill across the finish line?
That bill in a session that was marked with, as we've discussed, some acrimony, some real tension between the chambers, that bill was really special. Special for me personally because I came to know and so appreciate the Murphy family for really sharing their family story to try to make the world better and the state better for other families, but very, very meaningful for me personally. And I think that bill is really a piece of landmark legislation in terms of addressing that intersection of mental health and criminal justice. If you talk to sheriffs, they recognize that they are not equipped to deal with the most severely mentally ill in Florida. So let's provide options. Let's provide an off-ramp. Let's provide a way so that people who are severely mentally ill don't find themselves in our prisons. And we can do that. They're doing that in parts of the state. Judge Leifman was an incredible resource. He's doing that in Miami. So let's set up a model program that local governments and jurisdictions can adopt. There's grant money available. And let's let them do that. Let's let them use that money and expand. And I think it is really landmark legislation. So appreciative of the Murphys. And really it's one that when you're not in office anymore, 8 years goes very quickly when you're in office. And that is one that at the end of my time of service, I will look back on and know that we really moved the ball.
If you would like to see our documentary, Warehouse, The Life and Death of Tristin Murphy, you can find it at cbsmiami.com. When we come back, a word about the new Pope and the passing of Rabbi Shalom Lipskar. Stay with us.